Well, the tourism was once a second thought, or third, or fourth, or fifth thought. Just a casual effort to get people to come by. The major efforts were from the two main attractions, Ruby Falls and Rock City's painting barns and that sort of thing. And there wasn't a big effort. And it was decided there should be more effort because there was more opportunity. And so a lot of people got behind the idea. And it's turned into a big business. 8,000 or 9,000 people work through the industry. It generates a lot of revenue, generates business for our merchants and our businesses. So it's gone from not very big to people coming to fish or look at the mountains or whatever, to now with the evolution of the aquarium was a huge catalyst because it gave you something else to peddle, something else to sell. And then the advent of the room tax came along, and they gave us some money to do some advertising and to try to get people here. And when you started doing that, you changed the whole culture in a community toward tourism. You had people, when you started advertising, and the aquarium started bringing people in here, and the other attractions. There was a lot of other things besides the aquarium, but it was a catalyst. And it started a mind change in the whole community, and people became proud. And I know I invited a group of county mayors to have their annual convention here. We were on a rotation, and other elected officials were on rotations where they were in Memphis one year, in Nashville one year, and Knoxville the next. We were left out. So we broke that, and that wasn't a big deal to me to do that, but the point being that a lot of people started saying, bring my convention here. Bring my convention to Chattanooga. We got a lot to show you. You know, you've seen Gatlinburg. Let's go look at something different in East Tennessee. And so you not only created jobs and revenue and put rooms, filled rooms in hotels and seats in restaurants, but you created some pride. And now it's grown to be a major industry. But that revenue was a big boost. The room tax was a big boost to help get that message out there. And people will tell me as I travel around, you know, there's a circle that Bob and the Bureau advertises in and around Chattanooga, the Birminghams and Atlantas and Nashvilles. And people say, you know, I've been seeing the ads about Chattanooga. And we went down there, and it's a pretty neat place. I hadn't been there since it was filthy and dirty. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you. So it's helped from that standpoint as well. It's changed the whole image of the community by bringing more people here. And I need a break. Well, I think when we think about tourism here, we think about inviting people to our home. We invite them to our hometown because we're proud of what we've got. It's a great place to live. And we want people to see why we live here, why we like it, and that they can feel welcome here. And that they'll go back and tell others. We've gotten economic development leads for companies from somebody who visited here and talked about the city. And somebody decided, well, I'm gonna put a plant or I'm gonna put a store or something someplace else. And you say Chattanooga's pretty neat and people are friendly. I may go down there and see what they've got. And we've gotten stuff to happen here in this community because of that. But we were at a very low place in the history of this community when I think it was Walter Cronkite, they talk about, said, it's the dirtiest city in the world or something. And you came up from that, and people who had not seen it but did know about it when it was polluted saw that difference, and they knew something good had happened here, and they knew that good things were going to happen. And that's the interesting part about Chattanooga. I think there's a lot of pride in Chattanooga, Hamilton County, in this whole southeast region. I deal with a lot of people from Bradley and Marion and this whole area, North Georgia, and this is the hub. This is the hub of the whole deal, and they all take pride in it. We were up in Ray County last week, and people pay attention to what goes on down here because they think it's a good place, and that word gets around it. And all those things, I call it selling. You're selling all the time. You're selling your community, you're selling tourism, you're selling a place to put jobs, and having a home anchor is a good thing. When we were recruiting major industries, or industries period, it was always good to have something good to show them. Take them to the aquarium, take them to art galleries, take them to downtown. And we wouldn't have had the success we've had if it had still been that dirty, little downtrodden town, but it's not anymore. It's a vibrant community that's doing well. That's a large pot of money that we spend on telling people about Chattanooga and Hamilton County. But if we stop, you stop the growth. You stop the momentum that you have. And it's very expensive. I dealt some with, when I was with the state, I dealt some with Knoxville and Nashville and Memphis. And the amounts of money they spend is huge. And so it's a very competitive business, and we have to stay competitive and spend the kind of money we're spending if we're going to keep growing. Now, if everybody's happy and we've grown all we need to, and we just stop, well, we can do something else with it. But right now, I think it's paid by other people from out of town, and we use it to bring more people from out of town. There's a lot of hotels been built here in the last few years, folks. The Ironman that took place this past weekend is huge. And you can go over, just cite one after another after another. Well, if you don't show investors that you're putting your money into bringing people in, it's going to be harder to get them to invest money in hotels and restaurants. And it's working. And my daddy taught me a lot of things. And one of the lessons he taught me is if it's working pretty well, don't mess it up. And I've tried to do that. I didn't listen sometimes when I messed it up, but it's important that we keep it going and keep growing, because times will change and we'll have to change with it. That make sense?
That made all the sense in the world, doesn't it?
Well, I hate to see Bob retire. I certainly wish he and his family well. He's served his community well. He's done a good job. He's been creative. He's a good detail person. He's a tad jumpy now and then. He gets a little on the jumpy side when things get a little tight, but you can depend on Bob. I don't think I ever asked him to pursue a contact, a possibility of bringing somebody here, a group here, that he didn't do it. And he gave me a thorough report. If we got it, he wanted to make sure I knew we got it. And if we didn't get it, he would tell me why he thought we didn't get it. So I think Bob's been a bundle of energy from that standpoint, and it'll take a lot of effort to replace him. But I wish he and his family good health and happiness. And there's some psychiatrists here in town and some people who sell pills that calm you down. They're going to lose some business now with Doak going off to retire. But he's earned it. Good luck, Bob. We love you.
Did you ever think that we would see the $1 billion revenue
No, I didn't. You know, that's hard to imagine. But it's also hard to imagine from somebody who's lived here their whole life, the growth that I've seen, to the hotels, restaurants. You know, you can remember when there was only 2 or 3 pretty good restaurants in town, but now there's 2 or 3 dozen, I guess. And same way with hotels, rooms. It was it's changed a lot, and with that brought money, and it just has a multiplier effect. I know when we were recruiting major industries, we looked to see what kind of multiplier does it have. If we get this factory here, will it bring any jobs with another factory, a supplier or whatnot? Tourism does that. For every time we fill up a hotel and some entrepreneur thinks we ought to build another one, you create some more jobs. And it just keeps repeating. $1 billion is a lot of money. I guess that's the reason Doak really got jumpy.